Hello and welcome to this review of last weekend's local football results. I'm Colin Ryde, and joining him as usual is a man who writes for the National Non-League Football paper, and he's also a fantastic Oxford City fan as well. So Patrick, not the best weather to be watching or playing football at the weekend, and some poor results to go with that too, including Oxford United lost 2-1 away at Watford. But Patrick Lott, what on earth's going on down at Oxford City, sir?
It was bizarre from minute -1 really on Saturday. I'm sure a lot of people around Oxfordshire have probably seen the pictures from Oxford City on Saturday where both teams walked out in blue and white kits and City had to get changed after 15 minutes because couldn't really work out who was who. But it's a bit of a bizarre game as well, and City took some time to get used to the wind really. And Curzon Ashton took the opportunity early on to get themselves ahead when City were a bit all over the place. And I mean, City did improve after about the half-hour mark, and probably from the half hour it was a very even game, and City did get themselves level through Ewan Clark just a few minutes into the second half. And actually from then it was anyone's game really, to be honest. Both teams looked capable of winning it, but unfortunately it was another situation where probably one slight slack defensive moment saw the game won for Curzon Ashton, where City failed to clear their lines, and despite a good save from some Sam Lewis in the City goal, it fell perfectly to their man to head in. So another game where City were well in the game, but another one where City just fell short. So
not good news down there. And Ross Jenkins back in the dugout for Oxford City, but it looks like he's having a bit of a tough old time second time around, Patrick.
Yeah, it's a tough old league, National League North. It's always been said that even when City were in the south, that the North was probably a tougher division. And there's no beating around the bush. What he's working with at the moment is probably not quite as good as what he was working with when City got promoted into the National League in the south a few years ago. And I think the thing with City at the moment is that the first 11 is a good squad. But the problem is, over the past few weeks, 2 and even 3 key players have been injured. So Jack Bean, who started the season really well, got injured at Kidderminster, so he's been missing for over a month. And then Isaac Westendorf, who'd been causing chaos up front, who was then missing for a few games. And then to put the cherry on top, Zach McEachran is now missing for a few weeks. So that's the issue with City, I think, is that, when they got that first 11, yes, they can probably challenge and beat a lot of teams in this league, but unfortunately squad depth potentially isn't there at the moment, and I think that's kind of reflected a little bit in results as well.
Okay, we can hear from Ross Jenkins now, who's talking after the game about the game itself and also that controversial kit clash.
Yeah, I thought we dominated most of the game. I thought we were probably the better team in possession, moving it, getting a switch of play. They made it difficult at times by hitting diagonals and going longer, making us defend more, a little bit deeper and more long balls. But there's so many talking points within the game that actually wasn't the game. It sort of distracts you from the actual game of football at times. Yeah, it's frustrating. We've created enough chances as well. Ashby's hit the post. Tom Scott's had a decent chance to put it either side of the goalie. A couple half chances getting to the byline, just that last final product, that cut back, that pass to then put it in the back of the goal. We created quite a lot of chances. But I think there's a lot more in the game that has probably frustrated everyone, the fans included, myself, the players, anyone watching. The frustration levels were extremely high today. Before we even kicked off, we was in the tunnel saying there's a kit clash. Something needs to be done. Something needs to be changed. It's blue and white versus blue and white. I don't think it takes a clever person to realise there's a kit clash there. But, it's slid past someone. Someone's authorised it. But even on the sidelines, some of the comments that were made saying our secretary made a decision based on that, and it's absolute rubbish, garbage. They had a second kit. They could have wore it. The referee has to authorise that and stamp his authority. We had a similar case when we played Weymouth here a few seasons ago. They turned up in white. There was a big kit clash. They had to wear our kit from 12 years ago. It is what it is. I think we just needed to be firmer and stronger. But, we were the bigger person. We had to go and change our kit. And we joke around. But the first goal, we don't even know what happened. We can't even remember who was marking who was in the box, because we looked up and we just saw blue and white. Players were moaning about it, both sides. Our players as well. They look around to go and take a marker and they don't know. They look at each other and they look at a blue and white and they think it's them, thinking our player. So, that sort of, I think it was 9 minutes, was it?
But the decision was made pretty swiftly, wasn't it, to change that?
The whole stadium could see it, just one person couldn't. And that really sort of dismantled the first probably 15 minutes. But we played some really good stuff, though. We played on the front foot. We conceded a really poor goal. We need to look at it and look at who was marking, because I don't even know who was in the box. I just saw blue and white in the box. So we need to pick it apart. But at the same time, we played better after that. We were on the front foot. We passed the ball. We played with purpose. Bit of anger, bit of frustration in there. And there's many decisions in there that went against us. But overall, really frustrating.
But yeah, let's talk about football. It was a really tight affair, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was good. We showed a reaction. The boys were... I couldn't doubt or question their effort and their commitment to go and change the game. We had some really good performances in there. You know, when you lose a game of football, naturally people think you didn't play that well. But we had some really good standout performances in there. And everyone had to run through walls and keep going and keep plugging away at it and keep doing the basics well. The second goal, I can't really remember either. I know Sam's made a good save, but I can't remember who was marking who it ricocheted to. So that's probably the goal we need to look at the most. The first goal is a bit of confusion and a bit of anger in there, a bit of player frustration maybe led to it. But at the same time, we need to do better in both boxes. We've had chances, we haven't scored. We've not defended our box well enough on 2 occasions. But we've had chances to win the game and we haven't. So, a load of frustration around finishing chances, defending our box, the kit, the decisions on the pitch. Got to be careful what I say again. Every week I keep saying that, but it's not just me. Everyone can see it, so I just got to be careful.
So all the nonsense about the kick clash, Patrick. So what was the crowd's reaction when, after about 8 minutes, I think, so the game was paused, the referee finally came to his senses, and it was Oxford City who trudged off the pitch and changed their kit. I mean, what was the reaction on the terraces, Patrick?
Well, we were joking throughout that it's probably the first time in history that the referees lost the plot before the teams have even walked out of the tunnel, and it was bizarre. I mean, as soon as the team started walking out of the tunnel, we could see on the terraces that it wasn't going to work. Both teams were in the same colours, and I mean the Curzon kit was solid blue shirt, and City was mainly white shirt, to be honest, and Curzon were in white shorts while City were in blue shorts, and I mean, anyone could see it wasn't going to work. And as we just heard, Ross Jenkins bemoaning the kits, wasn't he, for the opening goal, saying that the teams couldn't really work out who was who. So whether that did actually have any effect for the opening goal, I don't know. But I think it wasn't a surprise to us on the terraces when the red kit appeared on the City touchlines, and both teams, not both teams, but City changed out of the home shirts into the red shirts. So one of the more bizarre kits. City have had a few bizarre kits in the recent years where it was red shirts, blue shorts, blue socks, and it kind of, there's a kit I remember from Solihull years ago where we played in blue and white hoops shirts and yellow shorts. So it's one to add to the bizarre football kits collection, I think.
All right, okay, so better news for Banbury United, who are going well in both the league and cup competitions, and last Saturday's FA Trophy win against Tame United setting them up nicely for a FA round, Patrick, next weekend. So good stuff to come.
Yeah, exactly, and they're having a really good cup season, Banbury United, at the moment, and obviously we'll cover Tame United with this fixture as well, as it was Banbury versus Tame United, so a nice local game. It's just a couple of junctions down the M40 for Banbury. Banbury kind of with form as a team in the league above. They took the lead on 8 minutes. So Yorofosu, the captain, scored as he bundled home from a free kick to give his side the lead. I mean, Tame hung in there and were in the game until just about 20 minutes from time. Banbury doubled their lead through Joel Anker.
It is Kelvin Langmead talking to Puritans Radio after that FA Trophy win.
Yeah, really pleased to get through. Really pleased with the clean sheet. Really pleased with the goals we scored. And I don't think I don't want to be negative because there's no need to be negative, but we just weren't as ruthless as I'd like us to have been. I felt like we could have really put the game to bed by half time. We were creating really good chances. We were getting in behind. Just that final little bit, I think sometimes we made the wrong decisions, which just kind of puts the game on a knife edge, which you don't want, especially when you've been on top. You know, one mistake just would let them back in. But in the end, a really professional display. I'm really pleased to get through.
How much did the conditions play a factor in some of the things out there?
Yeah, it does. You know, wind is hard to play in. So I said to them before the game to not take any chances. If they weren't sure, just to clear the ball, which made it a bit scrappy and a bit messy at times. But I'd rather that than try and overplay or lads take risks when, like I say, you're playing against an opposition who have found a little bit of form of late and could cause us problems if we allowed them to. So it absolutely has a factor. Also, the pitch, there's a lot of grass, but it was quite soft as well, so probably quite heavy on the legs. So the lads managed it really well. So overall, like I say, the only complaint I can have is that we weren't ruthless enough. But overall, yeah, really pleased.
How are things standing? You mentioned that George Ball going off there as a precaution, potentially a hamstring. As you look ahead to the big game next week, nobody's going to want to miss that, are they?
No, of course not. And look, George obviously had his hernia, missed him. He hasn't had a run in the team. There was an opportunity for him today. And so, like again, talking about you have a pre-season for a reason, match fitness and stuff. He played 60 in the week, which was really important. But it takes a little while for your body to get conditioned. His probably isn't quite where he'd like it to be, and we'd like it to be at the moment. And that was the outcome for it today. But hopefully it's nothing too serious. Hopefully it's something we can manage through the week, and they'll be available for next Saturday.
And of course, this game today, it looked from here that you managed it quite well. You could have won by a few more, as you intimated there, Calvin. But obviously the elephant in the room is the one next week. But it was all about getting this one done today, wasn't it? Before next week even comes into your thoughts.
Yeah, look, you can't hide from the importance of next week. But it was really important today that we focused on this game, putting in a positive performance, and getting a positive result out of it, and making sure we were doing all the right things, because you want to keep that momentum. That's back-to-back clean sheets, back-to-back wins. So it does put us in, a good frame of mind. The lads should be really buoyed by what they've done today and the week before, and it sets it up. We've got a free week again, which is great. So we'll have Tuesday and Thursday with them, and we'll get ourselves ready for next Saturday.
Briefly looking ahead to that game against St Albans, have you had somebody at Aveley today having a little look at them?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Imperative, I'm sure they had someone here today. It's a huge game for both clubs. We both know what's at stake and both know what it could do for our football clubs. So they'll have gone about it, I have no doubt, in the same way that we are, making sure we get eyes on them, they'll get eyes on us, and we'll both be prepping, I'm sure, the same to try and go and win that game.
OK, so back to league action now. It looks as though Didcot Town, Patrick, are finally starting to turn their season around.
Yeah, and we'll hear from Jamie Heapy in a second, but one of the points he brings up is that they spoke about after the game on Monday where they picked up their first win of the season, that they needed to pick up back-to-back wins, and that is exactly what they did. They beat Larkhall Athletic 2-0 in the Southern League Division 1 South. It was a goal in each half. Owen James gave Didcot the lead on 16 minutes. Adam Leroyd, centre-back who we always seem to be talking about scoring goals, doubled the lead 15 minutes from time, so they did, as I say, get their second successive win. Yeah, and Jamie Heapy thought his team was well worthy of the 3 points, and we can hear from him now as he spoke to Daz King.
Great week, brilliant back-to-back wins.
Yeah. We said that, didn't we? Start of the week, Spoke about the training, I said about consistency, but you've got to back up a win with another one. We need to win here. We haven't won here in the league, have we? So, important win today. Don't think they had one away. I thought we were well worthy of 3 points. No one's had a bad game, and if someone has a moment where they're off it, someone else is there, and it's just exactly what we need, And the midfield were great again. Back four, clean sheet, massive. Lee made great saves, by the way, first half. But we limited them to not a lot first half. But we were a better team. Missed penalty, obviously. Yeah. Started the game really well, and I thought scored. We had a couple of other chances, penalty. Felix hit the bar, and it was like, is it going to be one of them days? But no, really, really pleasing again. But I just spoke to him. You can't get carried away. You can't take things for granted. No, this is it now. We're going to keep winning. It isn't. This Southern League is hard. And Ollie's got a good side. They're a good side, they are. And every game in this league is so hard.
OK, so that was Jamie Heapy there talking to Daz King after the game. A much happier Jamie Heapy would no doubt enjoy his pint of Guinness on a Saturday night, having seen his team win back-to-back wins and their first win down at Loop Meadow as well. Tell us how the likes of Killington, Northley, Aberdeen United, Wallingford and Crowmarsh got on the weekend, as well as the ladies, Patrick.
Yeah, so we'll start with the combined counties, which is step 5 as always. Kidlington, they're in a good run of form and they won again. Pat Osborne scored twice to help them beat Hollyport 2-1. And they maintain their place in the top 4 at the moment, so they're doing well to start with at this early stage of the season. North Lee, they picked up a win with Tom Taylor scoring the only goal of the game to see them to victory over Wallingford and Crowmarsh. So another Oxfordshire derby there. North Lee, that's seen them flown at the table, that win. They're up to 13th in the league now. Whilst Wallingford actually had a good start to the season, but they are just outside the playoffs now after their defeat on Saturday at North Lee. Geordie and Gaffey scored the only goal as well, actually, against for Ardley United as they picked up 3 points against Harefield United. But Milton United fell to a 2-1 defeat against Windsor and Eton, despite a Harry Thomas goal. They're still well placed, though. They are 8th place at the moment, just a couple of points underneath the playoff spots. Although, as I said a minute ago, still quite early in the season to start talking about those places. Abingdon United, they played on Friday night. They travelled to Hilltop and they were defeated 2-0 on the road there. Abingdon having a tough start to the season. They're just 1 point above the relegation spots at the moment. So they'll be looking for a turnaround in the coming weeks. There's just one game in the United Counties League. As always, seasons and sports are our only competitors in there. We've been talking in recent weeks. They've been having a real torrid few weeks, Easington. They shipped 6 and 7 and even 8 a few weeks ago. But that tough run came to an end in the best possible way as they picked up a 2-0 win at Leicester Nirvana. Sam Lawrence and Max Leonard with the 2 goals for them there. So, yeah, a good win for Easington after a difficult few weeks. We'll have a quick look at the Step 6 results from Saturday before we have a look at Sunday's action. Casterton, they had the biggest win of the weekend in Hellenic Division 1. They beat Malmesbury Victoria 5-2 at home. Kieran Day and Joseph Fullerton both scored twice to help them to that big win there. Wantage Town, they were just a goal behind Casterton. They beat Newent Town 4-2. Luke Whelan scored twice with Josh Davies and Callum Crook scoring the other goals there. But Tame Reserves, they were defeated 2-1 away at Brimscombe and Thrupp as the only other game in Hellenic Division 1. Right, we look at Sunday's action, and there were some big games this weekend. Oxford City headlining and Abingdon United women's side also, they both made it to the first round proper of the Women's FA Cup, actually joining Oxford United in the hat. City, they came through an absolute thriller against Denham United. They were 3-1 down late in the game, but a 76-minute goal from Ellie White brought City within 1. And with their opponents down to 10, Grace Craven scored in the dying seconds. It was literally the last kick of the game to see City to a penalty shootout, and City won 5-3 on penalties, so progressed to the next round there. And you can hear more about that game on the main show with Woodsy and K-Dog. It was slightly more routine for Abingdon United to get through to the first round. A goal in each half, firstly from Molly Ligo Jackson and then Erin Hartigan, saw Abingdon progress against Camden Town 2-0 there. At Oxford United, they were in league action, Women's National League South. There's 2 goals in a minute, saw the spoils shared between #United and Oxford United. Shauna Jenkins levelled for the U's just barely a minute after they went behind to #United. So, yeah, that's what happened this weekend, Colin.
Right, it's time now for Fixture Focus with myself, Colin Ryde, and Patrick Loughlin. Patrick, the international break is on, so there's no game for Oxford United as various team members have disappeared off. Probably even Mark Harris might even start playing against England. So where can local football fans get their footy fixture fix this weekend? That's very difficult to say that, Patrick, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we have to say that the best place to be this weekend will be Banbury United. They've got an absolutely huge FA Cup fixture against St Albans City. So 2 teams at the same level vying for a place in the FA Cup first round proper. Obviously, we know how big that can be for non-league teams, and we've spoken about it at length over the years. And my Oxford City Bloods has seen quite a lot of FA Cup first round action and some good games there as well. So if you're at a loose end, a U's fan who would normally go and watch the U's play and they've got a free weekend because of the international break, then I'd definitely get up to Banbury United for that game there. Elsewhere, Oxford City, If you fancy a long trip on the M6, yeah, head up to watch them play. They face Chorley away in National League North. Tame United are back in league action. They host London Lions in the Southern League Division 1 Central, while in the Southern League Division 1 South, Didcot Town travel to Shaftesbury. Then a day later on Sunday, Oxford United host Billericay Town in Women's National League South. Abingdon United host Keynsham Town in Division 1 South West, while Oxford City, they're also back in league action to AFC Portchester in the Southern Region Women's Football League Premier.
Okay, well, let's hope for better weather this coming weekend, and I think sartorial common sense from the referees to make sure there's no kick clashes there.
If one team's wearing blue, don't let the other team wear in blue. That's my words of wisdom for the referees.
But you'd like to think it's pretty obvious stuff. So for me, myself, Colin Ryde and Patrick Lott, that's your fixture focus for this coming weekend.